Episode 2 Revenant. It's out in just over a couple of weeks, and today we explain everything we know. Story secrets you may have missed, including the return of the Fanatic and a possible destination, monster hunting gameplay, vampire-inspired armor, and much more. Let's take a look. Episode 2 Revenant begins on Tuesday, October 8th. Unlike the first episode Echoes, Revenant will have a different release schedule, dropping an entire act at the same time. So all the content in Act 1, for example, should be playable to the end on day 1. This response stems from the feedback from the release schedule for Echoes. People didn't like having 3 weeks of content and then 3 weeks of nothing, they just wanted to play through it all at once. So now we're going to get that, but not sure how the community is going to feel about it. Is it going to be like, okay, cool, we can play through an act to the finish and then just chill for a bit? Or are people going to be bored because we're going to have to wait, how many weeks until the next episode now? Possibly 5 weeks if it's the same as last time. So that is the plan for the release schedule, but stay tuned to Bungie for specifics. Things may change, maybe certain events like Festival of the Lost play into it. Alongside the story content for Revenant, a new dungeon will begin on Friday, October 11th. We don't know too much about this, what the story is and what it's centered around, but we do know Icebreaker will return and be the exotic for it. Icebreaker was a pretty crazy and nostalgic weapon from Destiny 1, and during the 10-year anniversary celebration they posted this art which showed us Icebreaker and mentioned its return in the new dungeon. Let's talk about the story. We know the episodes are most likely each centered around one of the echoes that emerged from the Traveler after the final shape. The echoes are physical remnants created by the light of the Traveler, fused with the memories of thousands of dead alien civilizations slaughtered by the Witness and the Black Fleet from the darkness. The first echo made its way to Nessus and was used by the Conductor to control a Vex army. A lot happened in Echoes, you can check out some of my previous videos, but an alien leader named Takal did speak to Sundaresh through the Echo, part of these dead civilizations. And at the end of the story, she escaped into the Vex network with it and still lives. The Conductor's story may continue either in Revenant up next, some point down the line, or maybe not at all. But we do know that episode Revenant has a focus on another Echo, one that Fikrul the Fanatic has obtained.
Please, for you I go instead. Oh no, darkness lives here. Death, you are not of ether, can't bring you back.
All the same.
Yes, Father, we ever serve and await return.
Go. Inspire, and avenge your murdered friends.
In the Vidoc, Bungie shows us that Fikrul wields the Echo near the tip of his staff, and he too seems to want to build an army of darkness. If you look at some of the promotional material and videos, you have this sort of army behind Fikrul. It's been a while since we've seen Fikrul. I'm going to make a video discussing the most recent lore we have on him, but a lot has changed. The man whom he called his father died and returned as a guardian, joined the side of the city. Fikrul was the leader of the Scorn, this fallen darkness-based army, and it seems the same thing is happening now with the Echo. What it allows Fikrul to do exactly remains to be seen, but I'm sure is similar to the Conductor. Some of the storylines we can expect might be pretty obvious. Fikrul and Crow, Mithrax and dealing with his curse, and then the Elixni culture and trying to find a new home. Fikrul has a much different appearance and a new logo seen on the back of his cloak. The Fallen don't have a homeworld anymore, and they've been looking for a new home. In some of the screenshots with Fikrul, we see some type of planet beneath. I'm not sure this is a place we've been to before. Maybe it's reminiscent of those wars above Rees, sort of, metaphors depicting things with the new Fikrul above it, but I guess we'll see. Revenant, though, will take more of a darker theme, and they compare it to slaying vampires with splicer tech thrown in the mix. The player will have a chance to be a Slayer Baron, a role reserved for monster hunters in Elixni culture. So cool story ties there, and I'm sure maybe that's the title as well. Hopefully, gameplay-wise, this means actually hunting some monsters. The closest thing we've had to this was Wrathborn hunts, but it led us to those same old enemies, servitors, Elixni captains, and things like that. So while it would be nice to fight some new monsters, different character models that we've never seen before, I doubt it would happen, but you never know. There are some stills of Elixni up against worm gods in the Vidoc, so what if something like that did happen? They say that Fikrul has moved into an awoken watchtower, so this makes me think it's somewhere around the Dreaming City, or possibly the Tangled Shore makes a return. The reef seems like a good option, as scenes from the Vidoc also depict what looks like the purple hues of the reef and awoken ships, and it kind of makes the most sense. Where else would Fikrul go unless we got a new location, which is unlikely. In terms of other characters, I'm sure we can expect Mithrax, as his curse has been getting worse. Aramis left but could make a return, possibly Ido and any of the awoken characters like Mara, although it would be nice to freshen it up a bit. Here's a look at the known weapons and armor that also take on this vampire monster hunter theme. It's also worth noting there's going to be another exotic mission in episode Echoes. We aren't sure what weapon will be granted from it, but check out the following concepts. In a new area, potion crafting will be available. We've seen how Bungie altered some of the seasonal content last year in response to player feedback, adding some roguelike elements and allowing the player to choose more of their reward paths. The same type of thing is happening here. I can't tell if this is the Helm or someplace else like the Batza district, but it looks very pretty. The potion crafting table is located here and has a couple of different options. They spoke about combat potions, which boost your artifact directly. and then next to that, loot potions, which gives agency over the rewards you want. Just this past week and this week in Destiny, Bungie detailed a bunch of patch notes and Sandbox changes coming October 8th. First up, changes to Nightfall and Lost Sector rewards. Guaranteed non-adept weapon drops on Platinum completion of Master Nightfalls, 50% drop rate for Gold completions. They slightly increased adept weapon drops for Gold completions in Grandmaster Nightfalls, and featured Nightfall weapons moved to a new featured category with updated cost for focusing. Lost Sector weapons will also be farmable the same season they are introduced, rotating daily. This is the first time they've ever done something like this. The power band increase for seasons is making a return. A lot of people in the community are not a fan of this, but personally I don't mind. When it went away, I kinda didn't play the game as much. Maybe that's some of their reasoning to try and retain player numbers, especially since they've been at an all-time low recently, but a lot of people seem to be upset with this change. With Revenant, power caps will increase again by 10 points. The power floor is 1900, the soft cap 1950, the power cap 2000, and the pinnacle cap 2010. Titans are getting some huge changes and buffs. There's a new taunt mechanic added to Titan Barricade and Unbreakable Shield. So now enemies will be focused more on the barricade itself and shooting the barricade rather than the guardian behind it, allowing for you and your allies to easily peek out and get some shots if you need them. Certain enemies will just ignore this though, like wyverns if they're coming to stomp on your face. There's reduced damage taken by barricades from non-boss enemies and improved player protection behind it. Buffs to Titan's Void Overshield and Prismatic subclass abilities like Consecration and Shiver Strike. For the Warlocks, there's some buffs to roaming supers like Storm Trance and Chaos Reach, increased PvE damage for Nova Warp and added volatile effect to Nova Warp detonations. And for Hunters, there's some buffs to Golden Guns and Spectral Blades. Prismatic Hunter adjustments for grenade tracking and detonation improvements, and healing changes to Combination Blow to focus more on damage rather than survivability. That's an overview of the changes. You can check out the video in the description to see all of it listed out from that TWID. Anyway Guardians, that's all we got for today's video. A recap of everything we currently know about episode Revenant releasing October 8th. New story content involving Fikrul the Fanatic obtaining an Echo. An exotic mission. A brand new dungeon October 11th with the Icebreaker exotic. Vampire and Monster Hunter themed armor and possibly activities, and a look at some of the Sandbox changes releasing in that update. If you'd like to see some more Destiny news and mysteries like this video, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.